It's time for EdTech Mondays, brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and CC Hub.
What if every EdTech solution was built not just to function, but to prove that it could truly improve learning? Today, we go from assumptions to evidence. Welcome to EdTech Mondays Nigeria, a platform that facilitates critical conversations on the use of technology for teaching and learning. I am Chinyolu Akpa, your host, and it's great to be here again. In this second episode of our 4-part series on evidence in EdTech for improved learning outcomes, we ask, what does it look like to build EdTech with impact in mind right from the start? Too often, EdTech products are launched based on assumptions and not proof, unable to provide evidence that their solutions truly improve learning. Today, we explore how EdTech organizations can embed monitoring, evaluation, and learning frameworks into their product development. To do justice to this conversation, I have two astute professionals who have a ton of experience in EdTech and education under their belt. And our first guest today is a learning and development expert and the head of program operations at Schoolinka, an educator training platform in Africa. With over 10 years of experience, she has transitioned from classroom teaching to EdTech during the pandemic to bridge learning gaps through technology. At her organization, she leads professional development programs that have empowered thousands of teachers, especially in underserved communities. She's passionate about digital literacy and equitable EdTech access. She has designed and facilitated numerous teacher training initiatives focused on instructional design, cybersecurity, and innovative teaching strategies. Join me today to welcome Sussan Benjamin to the show. Hello, Sussan. It's great to have you here. Our next guest is a seasoned monitoring, evaluation, research, and learning specialist, currently serving as a senior impact and learning officer at Teach for Nigeria. He leads the organization's MERL strategy, guiding evidence generation, impact measurement, and learning. With a background in agricultural extension and education, he has designed key evaluation frameworks, led strategic impact reporting, and managed large-scale projects, including Teaching at the Right Level, Let Girls Thrive, and TFNX. He is also a leadership coach, master TRL trainer, and active member of regional and international MERL communities, bringing a strong commitment to equity, data-driven decision-making, and education system changes across Africa. Join me as I welcome today Ebenezer Akinwale. Welcome, Ebenezer. It's good to have you here. Great. So now we have an MERL specialist and we have a wonderful learning and development specialist who now specializes in teacher training, not just the regular type. And this is really interesting because oftentimes when you think about EdTech, you're thinking about just learners. Yeah. And you don't hear so much about solutions that are focused on CPD, continuous professional development for teachers. So it's great to have you here, Sussan. So now, I asked this question in our first episode, and I want to ask again. On whom should the burden of evidence generation for EdTech solutions lie? Is it on the innovators? Is it on the teachers? Should it be on the parents? Should it be on the schools? Or is it a government problem? On whom should the burden of evidence for EdTech solutions lie?
I think first of all, I'll say it's a collaborative effort. But when we say the burden, it will be on the EdTech innovators, right? So you are the ones building a solution for a certain problem you figured out. So it's your place to say this will work. It's your place to prove that this particular solution I'm bringing into the market can work. So I believe that it's the role of all EdTech and innovators to do the user research, to get evidence, but you can leverage on these other stakeholders to get this evidence. You can leverage on the school leaders, the teachers, the students, the parents, even the government. You can also give them metrics in which you want the kind of measurements they should carry out in their respective places to get records, track records, proven records that this solution that you're bringing into the market can work. So yeah.
I quite agree with her. Everybody has a role, and government's role is to have a central entity whereby other people bring their evidence to show. However, anybody that is bringing the innovation must be able to have something to show that, oh, what I'm bringing works. It's just like one African proverb that says that if fire is burning on water, please give us the ash to prove that, okay, your solution can do this. Yeah, so.
If fire is burning on water, give us the ash
As a proof.
to prove that your fire can burn on water. Yeah. Very interesting. I like that. So, why is evidence tracking important in EdTech? What is the need for evidence tracking? If a institution says that they can help a child read, I don't know, encyclopedia in 10 days, why do we need to? I don't know. So I think I should go to the experts. The experts, MERL, guy. Why?
All right. First thing, accountability. I mean, you are telling us this is working. We want to be able to, hold you accountable. That is it really working or not? And another thing is, even for the EdTech people, you need buy-in of stakeholders. You need donors. So these are the things you use to tell them that, okay, yeah, you can trust me with your resources. Another thing is, we want to scale. Right, and people, don't just throw money anyhow nowadays. They throw money on what works, and you don't want to waste stakeholders' money, investors' money. So those evidences, the data, the numbers, are what people need. What the EdTech need to take buy-in of people and probably scale. So that's that.
Sussan?
Yeah.
Why do you do what you do? Because why do you gather data on if your teachers are actually learning or not at Schoolinka?
Right. It's important to know that our strategies are working. Right. So the EdTech solutions that we're giving out to these teachers, we are asking the question, is it working? Do we need to change the method? Is there a particular demography that this method works for, and we need another method for another demography? So these are questions that come up that's why we need evidence, right? We come up with different solutions every day, working with teachers generally, and then teachers in underserved environments. You would understand that it's tricky sometimes to introduce an EdTech solution to them because of their knowledge in using digital devices. So it's very important for us to track that this particular method we're dishing out to this set of teachers, it's working for them. Then we are looking at, okay, urban teachers, rural teachers, what's the difference? What kind of method works here? What kind of method? So it's very, very important for us to get evidence from all sectors, all demography. Inclusivity is also very important, right? So these days you realize most people are talking about inclusivity. Even in classrooms, urban cities, the classroom has to be inclusive. So how would you know that this solution is inclusive enough? You need records. You need to track your evidence.
I'd like to just follow up on this. When you say that we need to track because we need to get proof of concepts, do you have a standardized metric system, a standardized way with which you are gathering this data? And I ask this because you're doing teacher development. Is there an already established framework that maybe is non-technical, that is not a technology-based thing, that says a teacher should be able to do this, and you have then incorporated it into your technical solution, your EdTech solution? So how do you come about that metrics? Is there something that you're referring to, or do you have to do the work to determine what the metrics are and further on down the line, then create the evidence for improvement or not?
Right. So I think over the years we send out. We have. It's not really a standardized metrics. Funny enough, we're creating the standardized metric now. In fact, it's almost done. Right.
Sorry. When you say creating, this is now something that will be socialized.
Will be socialized, yes,
for
for other people to use
and
over
bring in the government to say this is
Thank
how.
you very much.
Okay, great.
Yeah, because we've learnt, we've gathered evidence, we've done our research from behind, and we've tried to create a framework for teachers, especially in Africa, in this region. But before that, before we go here, we carried out a lot of surveys, interviews. So that's how we get our evidence, basically. So we create a survey and we send it to teachers all over, and we have a lot of people, a lot of teachers in our network, and we tell them to share to other teachers in their network. So this survey carries different metrics that we're checking out for teachers in our community around the globe, or in Nigeria, basically, and in Africa. Then we get, these are the challenges they have in the classroom. These are areas, the school leaders, we also have those for school leaders. These are areas the school leaders feel like the teachers need more work in. So from there, we create solutions for them. So that's how we started. Then over time, speaking to numerous teachers, different occasions, you realize that there are things that are peculiar or things that you can gather from everybody. These are like the general consensus. Then we decide to create a framework of things that teachers need to know for them to be able to engage their students better and help with learning outcome. So that's how we've been doing it over time. If every time you repeat the same thing, you do the same thing, you gather enough data, then from this we've created our framework.
So Ebenezer, now coming to you with everything Sussan has said, I know that you are part of MURL communities, and I want to believe that some of them are education specific. How then, if we have organizations like this that are purportedly creating frameworks, and benchmarks, how do we evaluate, independently evaluate what these people have already? And what is the role of experts like you? Because I ask this because the government cannot do everything. If you want to say, okay, I've had it, I have it, it's done, government come and evaluate, it might not work. It might take a very long time. So is there a world where these frameworks like this, or standards, are passed through a validation process by maybe another independent group to now say this, and an independent group that has also established their own validation metrics, maybe around global best practices, to then determine this is good enough or what good is, and now support them in socialization?
All right. There are some basic principles if you want to look at, education solutions generally. First, there is something we call instructional core. There are just three: teacher skills, and then content, that is curriculum, what curriculum offer, and then learner engagement, what the learners are doing. These are the instructional core. And if you want to improve learning outcome, which is the ultimate of all these EdTech solutions, you have to increase those three things I mentioned. And then our measurement evaluation, the framework is based around those three things I just mentioned. So, for example, depending on the kind of framework that is done, every solutions must be able to go through an independent impact assessment, and all of them fall, like we say, ultimately is the learner. So we are looking at learning outcomes. And then what are those activities that, bet the learning outcomes? Is it teacher? So I mentioned teacher skill the other time. What are the teacher skills? Content, pedagogy, knowledge. Does he know what he's teaching? He or she know what he's teaching? And all of that. So those are the things we check, and how they translate to like the learning outcome of learner. And then we look at maybe in the classroom or whatever, if it is learning platform, what are the things? Rigor, academic rigor, assessment, classroom management, all of these metrics are inside standard framework. So any solution can go through an independent evaluation using all those key elements I mentioned now, and we'll be able to see, okay, the impact we want to see in learners, depending on the metrics that are defined by the curriculum of, let's say, the country. Is it average score? Is it learning gain? Is it like level on engagement? Is it enrollment rate? Is it retention? Is it teach? So all of those things, they are standards. and these elements are common in all impact evaluations.
So they exist already. However, they might not have been articulated in a way that EdTech organizations can plug and play.
The thing is about impact evaluation. For example, now internally, all these EdTechs, literature will most likely not accept it as proof. For example, in Teach for Nigeria, we did an impact evaluation of, our whole program, but it has to be independent. Like I said, it has to be done by a body that are certified. Call them RAND corporations. So bodies like RAND Corporation, we have JPAL and all of those bodies. They have standard tools like that. So once they come with those metrics, like those things I've already mentioned, the framework, they evaluate your solution, and then anything they see, if it is if it is significant, then it can be published. So other people that are trying to review literature, they can see that okay, this is these are the key things that bets students' outcome. So that means it can be adopted by people all around. Albeit it can be tweaked.
So Sussan, now that we know all of this, the work that you're doing, do you think that the journey to providing accurate evidence of EdTech, the role of EdTech in improving learning outcomes is tedious? And that might be a reason why EdTech organizations are not being very intentional about evidence generation.
Yeah, I believe in Nigeria, right? EdTech in Nigeria has not really gained that
level of traction.
Yeah. So that's why some of these measures have not put in place, and that's why we are here, I believe. Okay. So we're all working with a common goal to make sure that the EdTech space in Nigeria is gaining the traction that it needs to be gained. And we are going to do the work. So that's why we exist, and that's why people like Ebenezer exists, so they can also help us with these standards, right? And he has mentioned some key bodies that can help with
standardization
and frameworks that we would love to plug into and learn. And some of this information needs to be available to EdTech innovators, right? So that they'll be able to, like you said, plug and play and access their frameworks. But I know that it's a process that we all are we are all in this process together and we're moving together. And I believe we get there someday where we'll be able to create standards. But yeah, it's work. It's going to be a bit tedious. It is tedious already. But we're moving. We're not where we are, where we were before. Like we've moved. We're making progress in this space, especially when it comes to evidence and traction. And if you work with school leaders and teachers, you realize that they are also asking for evidence now. If you go to schools and you want to introduce an EdTech solution,
bring your ash.
I'm telling you, they will ask you, where has it worked?
Where has it worked?
And that question, I spoke to a school leader officer, that question was, people are getting aware of what EdTech does, and
there's a higher accountability demand.
They're asking you questions.
EdTech innovators these days.
Okay, you're bringing interactive white, but I know I've seen it somewhere, but sometimes some teachers, people come up, teachers don't know how to use it. How would we use it? You would just put it in our school. What does it do?
It's not just another thing
Thank
that is there.
you. So all these questions come up, and if we can have bodies that standardized bodies that are helping us track, like that's why we also decided to create our framework, right? We had to source for TRC and standardize the framework to use as a benchmark. We have to go to UNICEF to look for theirs as their ICT framework. So we had to look for all these other existing frameworks to anchor on, basically.
But there still has to be, as I said now, the independent validation.
That's what we're looking at.
So that's why I brought two of you together. I am linking you up because this is how we can truly generate evidence that your solution works or it doesn't. And then we can now confidently boast to say, use the solution here to solve this problem, to get this type of outcome or gain. Thank you so much, Sussan and Ebenezer. I don't know if you have any parting words. How do you think you'd want to see EdTech and how it would eventually support learning outcomes in Nigeria?
From my experience of, basically, I want EdTech solutions to get to rural areas. I think that's what I want, if you ask me, every day. Because I work with teachers in underserved region. I see the passion. I see the zeal to impact knowledge, and I see the limitation. And we are creating EdTech solutions, and most times we realize that fine, there's internet, digital devices, all these are challenges. But if we can make it accessible enough for people in these religions to get hold of it and use it, that would be the dream.
Great. Ebenezer, parting words?
I would love the EdTech innovators to think about monitor and evaluation from the planning stage. I mean, from my side, we want to look at how we can influence policies. And you can't influence policy without data.
Data,
Really,
exactly.
I mean, policy, for example, like the independent studies, they inform what we call policy briefs. And policy briefs are the thing that you table to where decisions are made. And if they see tangible data, they will adjust, because, like I said, technology disruption is the future, and we all have to get there. That's 60% of rural communities that don't have access. They need to, if we want to get something in this country in education.
Thank you so much, Ebenezer, again, and thank you, Sussan, for gracing us today with your wealth of experience and knowledge about EdTech and evidence generation to prove that learning really happens using EdTech. Thank you. And to you, our listeners, I would love to hear from you. Does EdTech really work? Are you a teacher? Are you a parent? Have you had to onboard learners onto an EdTech solution? What was the experience? Can you boast to say that EdTech can truly transform how learners learn and can improve their learning outcomes? Or are you the school of thought that says technology is disrupting things negatively and learners are becoming worse? Did your words, did your children, did you become worse off just because you use technology to learn? I'd love to hear from you. Send us an SMS or a WhatsApp message to any of our numbers, 0703 1650809 or 0706 402 0742. We would love to hear from you. Remember, we have a very active Telegram and WhatsApp community, so you can join those communities to continue the conversation and to share your feedback also. Our Telegram and WhatsApp communities are EdTech Mondays Nigeria. Simply search and join. Who knows, from those communities, you could be our next guest here next week. Do you know anyone who missed this episode or a previous episode? Do not worry, we have you covered. Simply scroll on to YouTube, search CC Hub Africa, EdTech Mondays, and you can watch, share your comments, drop a comment in the comment section. Would love to hear from you. We also are on Spotify, EdTech Mondays Nigeria on Spotify. Listen and let us know what you think. Until I come your way, same time, same station, I remain your host, Chinyelu Akpa. Keep using technology to push the frontiers on education. Is bye for now.
It's time for EdTech Mondays, brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and CC Hub.